One team that's not participating in the Super Bowl because they're not good enough, although they were a dangerous team as the season was winding down, is the Cincinnati Bengals, who find themselves in a spot to where, all right, all of a sudden,
Got choices.
Yeah, well,
Got some decisions to make.
Yeah, but you got these are big decisions because you got Trey Hendrickson, who's coming off the best season of his career, led the league.
They just gave him money, didn't they?
No. He wanted to get traded before.
I thought they gave him a deal.
Him, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins.
Oh gosh.
All need to get paid.
Oh gosh.
And from everything that Brady has laid out to us before, not exactly the organization that's going to break banks to go ahead and hand out a bunch of cash. So I'm just wondering, what's the plan?
Somebody's out of there. At least one.
Could you imagine, VAR, if you had just over the past 2 years, 35 sacks? Or if you want to go back even further, the last 5 years, Trey Hendrickson has had 70.5 sacks.
Jeez.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So they bring him from New Orleans, which I forget he had like 14 or 13.5 his final year there. And he's done nothing but produce, in particular the last 2 years. And so I sit there and I go, all right, this is a no-brainer. They got to get a new deal done with him. Do we have the sound from Duke Tobin?
No, I don't believe there's a sound.
Okay.
For Duke Tobin.
Basically, Duke Tobin talked about that, hey, we want to get a deal done with Trey. We're just not sure we'll agree to one.
What?
Like, okay. Yeah. Like you're willing to let him go? And he's been that productive. I mean, he's arguably been the best. I know people will say TJ Watt or Myles Garrett or whoever you want to throw in the conversation. I don't believe either one of those between the last 2 years have had 35 combined sacks in the last 2 years. So that's one part of the conversation. Then you have Jamar Chase, who's done nothing but go for over 1,000 yards his entire career since coming in as a rookie. He led the league this year in receiving yards, led him in receiving touchdowns. And you're going to let this play out where he goes into his fifth year making $21.8 million, for this 1 year. It's crazy to me. This organization is so short-sighted in looking at it saying, we want to keep letting these guys have career years and then sign them to a deal. Well, it's going to be impossible to keep them. Like, you could have signed Trey Hendrickson to this deal before this season. Now, all he did was do the exact same thing again. Or Jamar Chase. You could have figured out a way to get it done before now, where now they're really going to break the bank. This is the same argument and conversation that we were had about CeeDee Lamb. When you've got a superstar, you've got to find a way of getting these guys to the table sooner. Because the closer they get to free agency, the more those numbers start to add up. And it's going to be impossible to keep this team together. It's one of the reasons why I think Howie Roseman's done an amazing job putting together a roster with so many stars like Philly has. It's because he doesn't wait. He goes, he restructures, they're active in the offseason. So to make sure guys are happy and guys are getting bumps. I mean, imagine if a team came to you, VAR, and they said, hey, you're scheduled to make, $21 million this year, and you still got 2 years left on your deal. We're going to give you a little bit of a bump and a bonus, or we're going to up that pay to about $24 million per year, average annual value moving forward, or $25 million per year. You're thinking to yourself, damn, I wasn't even trying to renegotiate this year or not.
Yeah.
And you're giving me a signing bonus on top of that? You're bumping up my pay another $4 or $5 million per year?
Guaranteeing some of those back end dollars and guaranteeing them more up front.
You're like, hell yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it.
And
especially if it helps the team. Like you sit there and you say, okay, it helps the team because it can help in terms of cap space.
Right.
By doing it.
And for this reason, I'm not saying you're doing this with everyone, but you're doing it with guys like Trey Hendrickson, Jamar Chase, who are two of the best in the league.
Absolutely.
And outside of Burrow, it's like if you do want to create more cap space, those are the guys that you already have under contract that you can, again, renegotiate down the future and make sure you give them more guarantees within that deal to appease them, but also create more cap space.
But here's the question. What are they going to do? What are the Cincinnati Bengals going to do? Who goes? Who stays? Who does anyone go? Do they all stay?
Hendrickson and Chase, T. Higgins, appreciate it, and we move on.
No. Say that again. Say that again.
You keep Hendrickson and Jamar Chase.
Oh, and T. Higgins has got to go.
Yeah, you got to go.
Okay. Q?
I mean, look, Chase you have to keep, and they're going to.
You know you have to
because
keep Chase.
You've got this year, his 5th year, all right, to work within your cap, which they've planned for this.
Joe Burrow is not going for that. They're going to keep Chase.
Yeah,
Higgins
they're
and
going to keep
Hendrickson.
Chase. They're going to find whatever way they can.
Yep.
Hendrickson's the one that's tough because, he's been so productive.
How old
And-
is he?
He's got to be close to 30. If he's not already here 30, because I believe
They might let him walk.
he's 30 years old.
They might let both of them walk.
Both of them. They're not letting both.
Higgins.
Chase
Higgins.
is going to be assigned.
Not Chase.
It's going to be
Higgins.
Hendrickson.
They're going to
Oh,
say
Higgins for sure
Yeah.
will walk.
they're going to let Yossi Vosh take over the role of T. Higgins. You already started to see him get worked in more this year, and that's going to
But
be.
he's
where
not
they
the
go.
same player.
I know.
man.
I
Not at
agree.
all.
Big body. But,
I agree, but I don't
but
know.
okay.
How they
So
keep it
in all
everything.
seriousness, you know how we joke with Prisco about the whole Super Bowl prediction? All right. This is one of those moments where I go, well, yeah, this is why. It's not the talent or the ability of Burrow to win a championship. Like, I always go back to it. We saw him have the greatest single season in college football history his last year at LSU. He's without a doubt capable of it. The problem is this organization will never spend the amount of money consistently in order to provide him the team he needs. They have to thread the needle. I mean, look, you can always find ways of winning games, but it's a lot harder if your team's less talented, and your team is most times less talented because you allow players to come in either through the draft or free agency, and they show what they're capable of, but you can't keep all of them because you're not willing to spend the money, or you can't generate the money. So all those things lead me to, like, I think Hendrickson's not going to be there next year. Higgins ain't going to be there next year. And it'll be Jamar Chase. He'll be the one constant that gets to stay. But this isn't on Duke Tobin. It's not. It's just the Bengals organization. They're traditionally known for being a cheap organization. They don't have a robust scouting department. And I'm not even saying that that's not necessarily the best way of doing it. They've drafted well, developed well. But when it comes to money and spending, I mean, look, nothing against the Steelers. Steelers kind of on a similar boat. They don't sign guys to huge signing
They
bonuses.
certainly don't.
So
And we'll
everyone's
allow
got a
them
way
to
of doing,
walk. And
yeah,
we'll
look, and
allow
everyone's
them to
got a
go.
way of doing business. But if we want to look at the teams that have won the Super Bowl, all right, that don't have a quarterback named Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady, it's like, yeah, you got to spend some money. Like, that's just how it is.
Hey, did their window close, or is it still open? As long as they got Joe Burrow, is that what we
As
resigned
long as
to?
they got Joe Burrow, it's open, baby. I mean, think about it this year. There are a lot of people feel like that are Bengals fans that the Chiefs tanked that Week 18 game just to not have to potentially deal with the Bengals in the playoffs. And I will say this. They're not wrong. Because I don't think any team in the AFC wanted to potentially see Cincinnati in there as a wild card team. You do not want to deal with Joe Burrow and what would have been Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Trey Hendrickson, even as bad as their defense was this year. You did not want to have to deal with that team in a one-off sudden death scenario.
Burrow had the best year of his career, and this was coming off an offseason where people thought, wow, is he going to be the same because he's not able to grip the ball right, and he's got the wrist injury and all that. Like, he was fantastic.
Yeah, people
this
breaking
year.
into his house and stuff.
Yeah.
Shooting
Jeez.
stuff off the field.
Like, and he's hiring like
Some not breaking in.
top-notch personal
Some just
assistants
already
to
there.
try and help out. And
Yeah.
you got
Hanging
these
out.
43
savages.
touchdowns, 9 interceptions. That's it.
Hey,
Almost 5,000 yards passing. Led the league in both yards and touchdown. I mean, think about that. He had an MVP season. The only thing that wasn't MVP was the fact that we always attached wins to the MVP.
yeah.
But
Yeah. Well,
He had a better year statistically passing than Lamar and
Josh,
Josh Allen.
and
Yeah.
it's not really that close.
Not even close.